For 300 years, no blade could break her chains, until humans rusted. Beginning, the eternal prisoner. The prison at the heart of Vaethra was not built by mortal hands. Its foundations were older than any empire, sunk into the molten roots of the planet itself. Legend said it was forged by the oracles, beings who bent gravity and light as easily as a smith bends steel. At its core sat a single occupant, Seralith, last of the Starbinders. Seralith had once commanded fleets that spanned systems. Her voice carried through quantum channels, her armies blessed by the fire of collapsing stars. She had once been queen, priestess, and conqueror all at once, but she had also been betrayed. 300 years ago, the Grand Concord of 9 Worlds feared her growing dominion. Their scholars devised a weapon not of fire or plasma, but of silence. Chains of nullium, a metal harvested from a void between galaxies. Nullium did not bend, did not burn, did not break. No blade forged by mortals, no beam of energy, no entropy itself could sever it. They had bound Seralith in those chains and buried her deep beneath Vaethra's crust, where heat and time would wear at her but never kill her. She sat there for centuries, wrists and ankles clasped in shackles that cut off her connection to the stars. She did not age, for the nullium suspended her body as surely as it restrained her power. She endured endless silence, her mind burning with the memory of betrayal, her fury simmering like a star before nova. No rescuers came. No army remained loyal. She became myth, then ghost, then forgotten, until the day a human came. Middle, the human with the rusted blade. His name was Darius Cole, and he was no hero. He wasn't a knight of the Concord, nor a descendant of Seralith's forgotten empire. He was a scavenger. Darius had come to Vaethra in a patch freighter that wheezed more than it flew. The planet was off limits, declared a dead world, but that meant its orbit bristled with abandoned war hulks and derelict transports ripe for salvage. He was chasing copper coils, reactor cores, anything that could fetch credits back in the black markets of Yisro Station. But Darius's guidance system had burned out, and when he crash-landed in the storm-ravaged canyons of Vaethra, he stumbled upon something stranger than scrap. A cavern mouth gaped wide in the cliffs, half collapsed from quakes, but humming faintly with power. And inside, past tunnels carved smooth as if by some vast machine, he found her. At first he thought Seralith a statue. She sat upon a black stone dais, her head bowed, hair silver as starlight spilling over her shoulders. Chains bound her wrists and ankles, their black surfaces drinking the faint glow of the cavern's crystal veins. Her eyes, closed for centuries, opened at the sound of his stumbling boots. They glowed violet, brighter than the cavern light. "You are not of the Concord," she said, her voice sharp from the shoes, yet carrying the authority of a queen. Darius froze, mouth dry. I'm just passing through." Her gaze pierced him. "You are human. That world still breathes." Darius swallowed. "Earth? Yeah, barely. But I'm not from there. I'm from Mars, by way of a few other rocks." Who are you?" She did not answer. Instead, her eyes dropped to the object at his belt. A short sword, its edge jagged, its surface pitted and orange with rust. It wasn't a relic of honor, just something he'd pulled from an ancient wreck, a trinket he kept for luck. No energy field, no alloy of note, just old steel. Her breath hitched, the first true sign of surprise in centuries. That blade. Darius frowned, drawing it reluctantly. It's junk. Couldn't cut bread if I tried." Her chains shivered, not physically, but in resonance, as though they recognized something the eye could not. "Strike them," Seralith commanded. Darius laughed nervously. "What, these things?" "Lady, they look tougher than ship hulls. You think this piece of scrap?" "Do it." Her voice was thunder now, the cavern vibrating with it. Darius, against his better judgment, raised the sword and brought it down on the nearest shackle. The cavern blazed with light. The rusted blade met nullium, and where every other weapon had failed, this one sank through like cloth. With a scream of breaking reality, the shackle snapped. Energy flooded the chamber, violent enough to knock Darius back. Seralith's laughter rang, raw and triumphant, echoing from every surface. "For 300 years, she whispered, rising to her feet as the other chain strained. "No blade could break my bonds. And now a human brings me freedom." Darius blinked, stunned. "But how? This thing shouldn't." "The Concord bound me with arrogance," Seralith said, flexing her arm as power coursed back into her. "Nullium cannot be broken by plasma, by fusion, by stellar flame. But steel forgotten, primitive steel, laced with the corrosion of centuries, untouched by their sciences, that they did not foresee." She looked at him again, and there was hunger in her eyes. Finish it. Free me. Darius hesitated. Something in her tone told him that freedom might be worse than imprisonment. What are you going to do once you're out? Her smile was both beautiful and terrible. What I was meant to do. Rule. Rise in conflict. The price of freedom. Darius stood frozen, the blade heavy in his hand. His instincts screamed at him to run. Yet part of him burned with curiosity. He had lived his life drifting from wreck to wreck, always scavenging, never building. What was one man's fate weighed against a queen who had slept for centuries? Maybe, he said slowly, maybe you were locked up for a reason. Her eyes narrowed. Do you know what they feared, human? Not my tyranny. My vision. The Concord cloaks itself in peace, but it is stagnation. I sought a future where every world sang with the same fire. For that, they betrayed me. Darius shook his head. That sounds like the kind of speech tyrants give before they burn half the galaxy. She stepped closer, her unbound arm glowing faintly with regained strength. And what do you know of the galaxy, scavenger? You pick at bones. You see scraps. I see empires. Free me, and I will make you more than you have ever dreamed. Her voice was intoxicating, each word dripping with promise. But Darius saw the hunger behind it. Not for him, but for conquest. Still, he raised the sword again. The thought burned. What if she was right? What if the Concord had locked away not a monster, but a savior they could not control? And even if she was dangerous, who was he, a nobody scavenger, to deny destiny? One by one, he brought the rusted blade down. Each time, light screamed to the cavern, each shackle breaking with force that echoed across the mantle of the world. When the final chain shattered, Seralith rose in her full height. Energy rippled from her body like solar flares. She stretched her arms wide, her silver hair lifting in a phantom wind, her eyes blazing like twin novas. I am free, she whispered, and the cavern itself seemed to shudder. Climax, Queen unleashed. Freedom did not restore her gently. The power of 3 centuries rushed back into her veins, tearing the cavern apart. Walls cracked, crystals exploded into light, and the ground buckled. Darius barely managed to scramble back toward the tunnel as Seralith ascended, hovering inches above the stone. You have done well, human, she said, her voice reverberating in his skull. For that, you will not die when others do. The implication froze his blood. Others. Her gaze turned skyward, through the stone, as if she could already see beyond. The Concord will feel my return. Their fleets will burn, their worlds kneel, and you will stand at my side, bearer of the blade that broke my bonds. Darius looked down at the rusted sword, still glowing faintly from the strikes. It was no longer just junk. It thrummed with something ancient, awakened by its clash with Nullium. But he saw, too, the ruin already forming around her. The cavern was collapsing, the planet itself trembling. She wasn't just a queen, she was a storm. No, he muttered, backing away. I didn't free you to watch the galaxy burn. Her eyes snapped back to him. You dare defy me? Darius tightened his grip on the blade. Fear knifed through him, but something else stirred too, defiance. Maybe he'd been a scavenger all his life, but he had seen enough tyrants to know the signs. Yeah, he said, forcing a smile. Guess I do. He lunged. The rusted sword, glowing hotter with each heartbeat, met her aura. For a moment, steel clashed with starfire, human against legend. The cavern roared with their struggle. Ending, chains of choice. The sword cut through her aura, not fully, but enough to wound. Seralith screamed, a sound that rattled mountains. She stumbled back, more shocked than hurt, her gaze blazing with disbelief. This is impossible, she spat. Darius panted, holding the sword steady. Guess nobody told your precious Concord that sometimes old junk works better than all their fancy toys. She laughed then, even through her fury. A sound sharp as broken glass. You think you can stop me, human? I have waited 3 centuries. You are but a spark in the dark. Maybe, Darius said, stepping closer, but sparks can start fires. The cavern above gave way, sunlight spearing down for first time in ages. Dust and light swirled around them as Seralith, weakened but not broken, spread her arms. This is not the end, she said, her voice shaking the earth. You have unchained me. Whether you fight me or not, the galaxy will remember Seralith. She vanished in a burst of violet flame, leaving Darius alone among the ruins. He dropped to his knees, the rusted sword humming softly in his hand. He didn't know if he had saved the galaxy or doomed it, but he knew one thing. He had changed it. And somewhere among the stars, the queen who'd been bound for 300 years was free once more. Darius stared at the blade, rust flaking away to reveal a core of shining steel. He sheathed it at his side. "Guess it's me and you now," he muttered. Above, Vathor's skies cleared for the first time in centuries. But far beyond, in the halls of Concord, alarms were already ringing. The Queen had risen, and the human who freed her carried the only blade that could wound her.